Losing a pet can be traumatic, but when one pet takes the life of another, it's almost a Cain and Abel scenario. In my case, a sister against sister spat left me with one less pet and a mystery that had to be solved to see if the culprit could stay or be sent to a shelter. One day in 1997, I came home from my job in Haley, Idaho to a quiet house. This was not normal. Normal meant two dogs barking, eager to be let out for exercise and fun. Instead, silence as I turned the key, opened the door and saw my beloved cat, Kitty Girl, lying dead in the middle of the living room. My Rhodesian Ridgeback Rosie shied away from me on my entry to the crime scene. Living room couch, coffee table, dead cat in the middle of the floor. No blood anywhere. I stood stunned for a moment, taking the scene in. My cat, all black except for a white chest, lay motionless. I concluded that Rosie was the culprit. Her companion George, a sheepdog/Springer Spaniel mix with a happy-go-lucky attitude, seemed eager to turn her in and testify as a witness. Thomas, the gray tabby, was nowhere to be seen. Probably afraid of becoming the next feline fatality. As I investigated the crime scene without moving the body, I began to try and determine if this had been a premeditated murder or crime of passion. Had Rosie been biding her time? Had she waited years to pounce on my stray cat taken in years earlier and before the big dog? Or had she killed the cat by accident? Like most animals in my life, Kitty Girl was given to me. She'd been a stray in the parking lot at the newspaper I worked at, the Waco Tribune-Herald, and another reporter put the cat on my car. I could not resist and took the cat home. At the time I lived alone with no pets in a one-bedroom apartment. Kitty Girl earned her keep by munching anything and leaving rodents on the rug at the entrance. As my fortune improved, so did hers. I bought a house. She got a kitty condo. Soon, she got another human to live with who brought George. Two more strays joined the menagerie, Thomas the tabby and Rosie, a Rhodesian Ridgeback puppy abandoned because she did not meet egg standards for the breed. From the beginning, there had been an uneasy truce between Rosie and Kitty Girl as Rosie tried to show she led the pack. Kitty Girl, all of 5 pounds, suffered Rosie's presence as a pup and then frequently fended off the full-grown 106-pound canine. The cat kept her claws due to the fact she sharpened them on a scratching post and not furniture. With those sharp claws, she managed to keep the dog intimidated. George did not care about pack leadership and was more into play, as was Thomas, the male cat, who had the claws removed due to his lack of restraint and using them on furniture and screens. The animals got along fine in wide-open quarters in a 3-bedroom house. After the move to Haley, Idaho, close quarters resulted in more tension and sometimes bloody encounters. One, between George and Rosie, left me with a scarred forearm from Rosie's bite when I reached between the two dogs to break up the fight. Dad always said, never try to break up a fight between animals, throw water on them. Wish I'd listened to Dad. Finally, an apparent face-off resulted in a fatality. I wanted desperately to believe it was an accident. Carefully, I picked up Kitty Girl's remains, so light, airy and missing her aloof personality. I took her to the refrigerator and put her inside on a cookie sheet, sort of a makeshift morgue. Then I called the veterinarian. I went straight to the point. I wanted him to perform an autopsy on Kitty Girl. He answered with no surprise in his voice, telling me it would cost about $100. The vet knew all 4 of our animals. He said he figured sooner or later some mishap would come from keeping 2 large dogs and 2 feisty cats in a 2-bedroom house. Autopsy results showed my cat died of a blunt trauma to the head and a skull fracture. Tiny puncture wounds around the neck indicated the cat had been picked up by the dog. Using the location of the cat near the coffee table, the vet and I were able to conclude Rosie had picked the cat up and shaken her. The cat's head had struck the coffee table and the blow fractured the skull. The vet theorized Rosie had probably been trying to warn the cat, otherwise a stronger bite to the neck would have finished the job. Therefore, I could only conclude Rosie had no murderous intent toward the cat and the dog had been asserting her position in the pack.